Hi, my name is Michael Kinsman, and I'm a second year MDiv student here at Fuller. As part of the class on the life and ethics of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we were challenged with the question of, what does your ministry vision look like? Now, to answer this question, I have to share a little bit about myself. I was raised in a Christian home, I went to a Christian high school, and I went to a Christian college. It was in these places that I first felt the call to ministry. It was a vague call, but it was a call nonetheless. And it wasn't until junior year of college that I began to see this calling and this vision develop. While I was the director of spiritual life at Trinity Lutheran College, I began to sense a lack of space for dialogue and for people to ask the really hard questions that they had about their faith. And I found that one of my main roles there was just to listen well and to help people process these questions that they had about faith and life and whatever else confounded them at the time. But this quarter, it dawned on me that this was in part what Dr. King did in his own context. He created space where black and brown people could engage the larger community in a way that confronted the injustice and suffering that they were facing. His vision had multiple levels. And while I should point out that I don't feel compelled to go to a certain specific ministry context at this time, I believe Dr. King's principles transcend context. His vision was change-oriented and called for an integrated society and for people to come together to talk about things that need to be talked about, to talk about evil and injustice and suffering, white, black, Asian, all people coming together in a beloved community to talk about these things that they were facing. But at the same time, he was not a blind optimist, and he wasn't a hardened cynic, which I must confess is those are the kind of things that I fall into at times. Dr. King was a realist who saw things for what they were. But alongside that realism, he also had this voracious and enduring sense of hope that a beloved community could indeed be established. And I can relate to this. My ministry vision is realistic, but also hopeful. Now, my vision primarily involves attempting to fully see and fully hear where people are, while inspiring them to hope through things like shepherding, coaching, and healthy dialogue with one another, with people that they don't agree with, through community organizing, through listening to the needs of people and feelings of people in my own context, in my world, in my atmosphere, that I can be attentive to, that I can listen to, that I can respond to with love and compassion. And I believe that's my calling, to bring these principles that I've just laid out into whatever context God calls me into. And no, I don't know what that context will be. But that's my vision. And that's what I believe that I have been called to do as a follower of Christ, as someone who is called into ministry, but also someone who longs for and desires beloved community.